This is Rockport Ryan with Texas Fishing Tips, and this is your weekly fishing report. Okay, as we're moving into this next week, pay attention to the weather, please. We've got a front that's rolling in right now that's going to be extending possibly through the weekend. We got mixed reports on what's going to be happening this weekend, but definitely pay attention to the weather before you go out, and always wear your PFDs. This past week, where we've been hitting them has been, we came out here, St. Charles Bay, right there at the public boat ramp, coming up this shoreline. It was pick a slick. I mean, there was a trout here, there was a trout there, there were trout there, there were trout there. One guy's going, I'm on a slick over here, and we're like, we're on a slick over here. It was trout central. You could put a topwater out there, work it for a little bit, and then just stop, and the topwater just sitting there would be getting hammered by trout. That was going down this whole shoreline towards Goose Island State Park. Side note, the Goose Island State Park boat ramp is open. The park itself is not quite open for visitors to spend the night, but that boat ramp is open. So if you want a nice, quick, easy paddle, launching from around that boat ramp and into the cove area right there is another great place. If you're launching very early in the morning before they open up, then down here at this public boat ramp, get the trout along this outer side. As you come up, right before the entrance to that canal system into that housing area, there's a little cove right there. Best thing to do is to actually approach it from in the grass, because those reds are going to be all out there in the center, and coming up through that grass gives you a nice stealthy approach to them. But we had some nice reds in here. Again, topwaters has been where we've been hitting. If you want, like I said, this whole shoreline inside here where this boat ramp is, if you're not getting out there early in the morning, and as our water temperatures drop, you don't necessarily have to be out there early in the morning. But a little bit later, once the park opens, just launch there from that boat ramp and hit both sides of that, and you should pick up some nice reds. Another place that we've been hitting is going down this shoreline from the Causeway Pier. All along here, as you get away from the shoreline, we were getting into some nice trout. Reds are up in up against the shoreline. You can come around this point. When you get into this area, all along here in Newcomb Bend, all of the reds were like right up against the grass line. Our water level did drop some with this front coming in, and you would see their backs right at the edge of the grass line. You'd watch the shrimp jumping. We've got a big shrimp hatch that was going on. Lots of activity. But in these shallows, get up in those shallows. We were finding them in like 4 to 6 inches of water, to where when they were cruising across some of the more marsh lakes, you would just see 5 or 6 of them with their backs sticking out of the water. They are actively feeding. It is difficult, I know, getting those casts right to that grass line. When you get in these super shallows, a lot of times your topwaters, your Spook Juniors, Zara Spooks, She Dogs are actually a bit big and loud in that super shallow. What I found works best is going to some of the bugs lures. The white, the blue crab, the new penny, these are ones that have been producing well for us. But it's a nice, lightweight lure that hits the surface very easy. You can run it as a swim bait or bounce it along the bottom. It's rigged up weedless automatically. But those bugs lures are the ones that I have found have been working the best when you get into these deep marshes after some of those reds. Another spot that was doing pretty good for us is actually right here at Cove Harbor, launching from right there by Paradise Key. We were hitting in our first trout before we even got out of the boat launch area. It was kind of fun hooking up right there, watching boats try to figure out how to do what we were doing. But when you came out from there, you can cut between a couple of islands. That gets you onto one flat. But then when you cut through another set, right to get to the edge of the ICW, that shoreline down inside there was tailing reds. As we came around and into this flat, there were some nice reds coming out and across the ICW all along this shoreline, all the way down into all of these cuts, all along this shoreline was stacked with reds. Everything was on topwaters. Occasionally they'll be moving one of the platforms out there, and when one of those tugs starts churning it up, if those birds start working, pitch into their wake. A lot of what they're churning up will bring in some of the fish. But definitely, if you're out launch here at Cove Harbor, come out. This whole shoreline along that island was just stacked with reds. You can come back across the cut that goes back and leads almost up to like the backside of Shell Ridge Road. Was hit or miss, but that flat and along the edge of that island were all reds, and that was all topwaters. Out in the opening, there's a couple of cuts in that flat coming in from the ICW, and that's where the trout were hanging out. So again, pay attention to the weather, wear your PFDs, and if it's safe, get out there. This is Rockport Ryan. Thank you for watching.